Hey everybody, welcome to I Heard That. This is the unofficial checks and balances for the herd with Colin Cowherd. Now, as everybody who's seen a couple of these episodes know, basically, long story short here, ever since he moved from ESPN to Fox, his opinions have kind of switched, have kind of changed. He's always kind of gone back and forth, which I'm cool with, and I do like Colin Cowherd. I'm a big fan of him. But lately he's been getting just a little bit on another level with his opinions. So I grade his opinions and his takes between Vintage Colin, that's a thumbs up for me, and Coastal Colin, which is a thumbs down for me. Now, I'm going to give you a 2-for-1 today. This is about his take that the Packers should, if possible, draft Aaron Rodgers' replacement in Green Bay, if in the first round specifically, if they have the opportunity to draft a quarterback that they like. But before I get into that, I'm going to give you a bonus on this one. He was talking about LeBron James, the victory, kind of what he's doing in crunch time. And he says, look, this is LeBron's team. He's the MVP of that team, so on and so forth. Let me say that this is absolutely vintage. Okay, now there are a lot of people that will look at the stat line or they'll look at the scoring, and they maybe not watch the games, right? And they'll think that Anthony Davis is the best player on the team. And I came out on a podcast a couple months ago at this point. I started seeing all this buzz about how Anthony Davis is the MVP of the Lakers. No. This is LeBron's team at 38 years old or whatever he is. I guess he's probably not 38 yet. He's mid-30s. Look, this is his team. If you don't understand that he can play any role on this team, he can play any position on this team, 1 through 5. He is the guy. Come on, guys. Just LeBron's awesome. Stop trying to pretend like he's not awesome. He's freaking awesome. He's been awesome, for crying out loud. Is he the MVP this year? No. I mean, I would give that to Giannis this season. But you could certainly make the argument, and I wouldn't begrudge anybody voting him number one in the MVP vote. Now, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. Should the Green Bay Packers use a first-round pick on a quarterback? Look, Colin came out and he said, yes, they should absolutely do that, yada, yada. He came out and he said, Brett Favre was 34, 35 when Aaron Rodgers was picked number 1 overall. Aaron Rodgers, if you look at his stats, he's regressing in his stat sheet and all that. Let me just say this. One, Aaron Rodgers is regressing in the stat sheet because Aaron Rodgers has been probably the top quarterback in the game for years and years, if not the top, at the top of the game. So his stats are naturally going to decrease over time. But like I said, with Tom Brady, he's going to be playing this year at 43, the New England Patriots have to keep him going. Now, when they say draft replacement, do they think that they're going to have somebody else starting a quarterback for the Green Bay Packers next year? No, of course not. What they're saying is draft replacement, let him come in, let him learn behind Aaron Rodgers for a few years, and when Rodgers retires or they want to move on, then you can do that. Now, Colin Cowherd famously, he says he has no problem with Aaron Rodgers. Whether or not he has a problem with him personally, he certainly, I don't think you can argue against this. He roots against Aaron Rodgers. If you saw his reaction after the Green Bay Packers lost to the San Francisco 49ers, a 49ers team that was far and away better than the Green Bay Packers last year, the giddiness on his show when he came out, thumbs down for me. I thought that came across as petty. I did not like that. So I always take this Aaron Rodgers stuff with a grain of salt. Now, the Packers, getting back to them in their draft position, if a quarterback falls to them in the first round that they like, are they going to draft that quarterback? The answer is, maybe. Okay? I mean, it's nothing that they can specifically look to do. Now, the GM came out and he said, we will draft a quarterback. We're not going to shy away from that. That's the job of a GM. First of all, you throw smoke up there so that if a quarterback drops, a la Aaron Rodgers dropping in their draft, you can trade back if you want to. That gives you the maximum trade value for that pick because people are, they're not going to just try to trade back with the team behind you. They want to trade either ahead of you or try to get you to move that pick. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is the Green Bay Packers at this point need a wide receiver. His stats are regressing because the cupboard is bare at wide receiver. You have Devontae Adams, who, by the way, Herd will come out and he'll say, he's the only guy that Aaron Rodgers throws to. That's because he's the only guy that creates separation, okay? Herd is not watching the Green Bay Packers games. Let's be honest about this. So I think it's a little bit of a lazy analysis, plus, with some bias there. I don't think he's purposely coming out, Colin Cowherd, trying to be biased against the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers, but I think it comes through. Now, again, back to the Green Bay Packers and the draft. Are they going to take a quarterback? If they have that pick, what is it, the number 30 pick, if a quarterback who's very good drops to them, whether it's Eason, whether it's I think it's Love, whether it's whoever it is, right? If Tua drops to him, right, and they're sitting there, whoever the quarterback is, if they are graded at the top of their chart and they're sitting there and they're looking, they're going to probably take that quarterback. Now, let's say there's a wide receiver who I'm not even sure Green Bay would take a wide receiver. Historically, they haven't really gone wide receiver in the first round. But let's say wide receiver. Let's say, impactful edge rusher, I should say. Let's say another just playmaker that they need. Maybe Delpit or one of these safeties that's phenomenal drops. If they're the highest graded player in the draft, they're not going to bypass that. So give me the replacement quarterback for Aaron Rodgers. I do not believe for a second that they're targeting a quarterback at that pick. And if they were targeting a quarterback at that pick, they wouldn't come out and say, yeah, we're going to be taking a quarterback. I do not believe that this is reading between the lines. I believe that this is typical NFL draft smoke. So I'm going to grade this take, although I agree with Colin that if they have the number one player on the board by the time they're picking, if that is a quarterback, they will probably take the quarterback there. Overall, I think the logic behind the argument, I don't think so. I'm going to grade this as Coastal Colin. Let's get the nose in the book, Colin. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you on another episode soon.